All right, what is going on, guys? Let me just turn the volume up here. There we go. It's Dega weekend. Talladega, the best racetrack, in my opinion, in the NASCAR Cup Series, in NASCAR in general, I should say. Talladega weekend is, honestly, I don't always get to watch it because usually it's the same weekend as the Spring Sizzler. So when we do this first Talladega race, I can never watch it, but Spring Sizzler is actually not this weekend, the weekend after. So I will be on my couch from start to finish for Talladega. Always puts on, I think, the best show in NASCAR. The 500 is great. Daytona, what is that? Daytona Summer can get a little crazy. Talladega, whether it's the playoff race, whether it's this spring race, it's just the best racing, the best atmosphere. The fans are just nuts at Talladega. It's on my bucket list for a racetrack I need to get down to. I've never been there. But the product of what they put out in that track is just something special, in my opinion. So I'm excited. There's a lot to go over. So let's get right into it. I will say real quick, last weekend, tough weekend at Martinsville. Denny Hamlin looked like he was going to be the guy. Kevin Harvick looked like an easy top 5. Ryan Preece, top 10. Eric Almirola, top 10. All of that stuff looked to be a lock. And then that late caution screwed a bunch of people's strategies up, and Kyle Larson came out lucky. Same with Logano. They got lucky. They played the strategy right, and that kind of screwed us. So it is what it is. It's happened. I'm happy for Larson because he got screwed probably a month back now. Same thing happened. He was leading the race with a few laps to go. Yellow comes out. He loses. William Byron, his teammate, wins. That's NASCAR. That tends to happen. That's why it's so tough to bet on this sport, because it can change in an instant. But we move forward. We've had a couple good weeks, so I guess it's not the worst thing to get humbled every once in a while. But hopefully we can make up for it this weekend at Talladega. So doing things a little different. I think this is what I did for Atlanta. I'm just going to give you a list of guys to watch. And I think you can spread your money and bets out on this group of drivers that I will provide, whether that's you put all winners and you sprinkle it around. Let's say you're betting with $100 and you spread $100 around on these 8 drivers. You could do it that way. You could do 6 winners, 2 top 10s. You could do 6 winners, 2 top 5s. I don't know, however you want to do this. But I'm going to provide you with a list. If you want to see my bets, what I'm directly doing with these drivers, or maybe after qualifying something changes, that is Johnny on the Track on Action Network. That's where you can find all my bets, post-practice, post-qualifying, especially this week when I've got a list and I got to come up with who I'm thinking my winner bets are on, my top 5 and my top 10. Who knows? I could go all winners. I'm not sure. But here we go. All right. So my number one guy to watch this weekend is Ryan Blaney. I am definitely putting a winner bet. I can tell you that. I can assure to you that Ryan Blaney will get a winner bet placed by yours truly. I think he's due for a win. I think if you look at Atlanta, Ford and Penske overall were the best teams there. Joey Logano won in Atlanta. And even the Daytona 500, I know Stenhouse, a Chevy, came out to win, but you had guys like Almirola, Keselowski, Buescher, Preece up there fast competing for a win. Same thing at Atlanta. Keselowski and Logano. Buescher was fast as well at Atlanta. So I think Ford is going to be the camp this weekend. I think they're going to be fast. It's a super speedway, so you never know who's going to win this thing. But I think in terms of speed, Ford will be the class of the field, particularly Penske. So Ryan Blaney to win. He's a 2-time Dega winner, a 3-time Super Speedway winner. That just adds on to that. He's plus 1,000. I like the number. $10 bet wins you 100, 100 wins you 1,000. So lot there for Ryan Blaney. Number 2, I actually would put this as my number 2. I felt like I was just giving a list, but at this point, I feel like this is my number 2 guy. This is Bubba Wallace. I think he's another intriguing pick. He's listed right now to win at plus 2,000. Another guy, I wouldn't call him a super speedway ace yet because he's just won one and it was rain shortened, but he's always running up front. If you actually look at average running position at super speedways, Bubba Wallace has a really good one. He's an aggressive pusher. He likes to be up front, which I like. I like that style. I like guys that stay up front. It kind of upsets me sometimes when like the Denny Hamlin thing where he hangs back and kind of waits. I understand, but I just like him up front. Coming off back-to-back good, really solid finishes. So he's had 2 back-to-back bad super speedway finishes, but 2 back-to-back good this year. His last 2 races, good finishes. So I think he's going to break that bad super speedway streak with another good finish. I think there's momentum building for this 23 team. I've got a bet. I placed it preseason. I hope you did too. Bubba Wallace over a half win. So that would be great if we can hit this winner bet and hit that over half win for Bubba. So I like Bubba this weekend. Number 3. I guess he's number 3. Eric Almirola, one of my favorite drivers, very solid super speedway driver. Right now listed at plus 3,000. I think that's a pretty solid number. He was a dual winner this season earlier at Daytona. He started up front at the 500. He led laps. He's coming off his best run of the season at Martinsville. I think that team has finally got some confidence. The Stuart Haas thing has been really interesting because it really hasn't been that they've had bad cars. They haven't had great cars, but they've brought speed to a lot of racetracks. It just, things haven't gone their way. And I think what we saw last weekend at Martinsville, Harvick, Priest, Almirola, Briscoe, all having, I shouldn't say all having good finishes, but they ran well. They led laps. They looked fast. I think they can build on that. Coming to a racetrack, Almirola specifically, he's won here before. It was a playoff race. He's got a great average finish here at Talladega. So he's had 5 top 5s at Talladega and won a playoff race here. Coming off good momentum at Martinsville, Almirola, I think, is a bet that you have to make. Whether maybe it's not the win, maybe it's a top 5 or a top 10. I think you'll have plus money at the top 10, so good money on the top 5. That's number 3. Number 4, Chase Elliott. Chase is back in the rust. I think has already been knocked off. You saw first 2 stages, he didn't look like himself at all, and then stage 3, there he was. He came. Ended up finishing 10th, drove through the field that last stage. I think the rust is knocked off. I just think, look, do I love him with a broken, like coming off a broken leg at Talladega, super speedway? No, but I feel like it would be very Chase Elliott to just come in here and, go at these speeds and win a race and lock himself into the playoffs. I think it's possible. I like Chase Elliott here. Number 5, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Stenhouse has quietly, I don't know, maybe not, but I think it's quietly. He's quietly put together arguably his best start to a season in the Cup Series. 4 top 10s, confident. He's got nothing to lose here. He's already locked himself in the playoffs. So the only thing I think that Stenhouse is going to be doing is going for win number 2. I like him in that scenario. Yes, there's the possibility that he'll wreck. He likes to do that at these things, but very rarely has he been in a position like this where, again, he has nothing to lose. He's confident. That team is clicking on all cylinders. They've had speed. They had speed at the 500. So I like Ricky Stenhouse here. I think he's done this before. He's won 2 super speedway races in a season before, and I don't put it out of the question this year as well. Next guy, Corey LaJoie. Another guy, he had a heart a hot start to the season, cooled off a bit recently, but I think at this point, Corey LaJoie is a guy that you have to take a gamble on at this sort of track and style of racing. He got a top 5 at Atlanta earlier this season, always shows speed at super speedways. Look, maybe it's not the winning bet, but I think the top 5 and the top 10, maybe top Chevrolet is a good prop to put on. So Corey LaJoie, I think, is a good bet to take here. Michael McDowell, number 7 here. Most career top 5s on one track. It's Talladega for Michael McDowell. He's got 3 top 5s at Dega, and then you can add a top 10. So he's had good history here. And I honestly think, hold on one sec. I don't think I gave the numbers out for a lot of these guys. So let me go back. Let's see. Chase Elliott, I have here. Plus 1,200 is Chase Elliott. Stenhouse plus 2,200. It's a pretty good number. And then Corey LaJoie at plus 5,000 for the win. That's a solid number. And that brings us to Michael McDowell also at plus 5,000. So where I left off. So front row, I think, is knocking at the door to really take that next step in Cup. I really think that they've had speed last year. They're building on it. McDowell's been good. Gilliland has been off to a great start. He had a really, really good run going at Martinsville, was really running. Like his average running position was right around 7th or 8th. Like he was doing really, really well. I think he blew a cylinder and that kind of ended his day. But I think, like I said, I think they are right there to take that next step. They're a part of the Ford camp, which I think is going to be the camp this weekend that you want to watch for. So Michael McDowell, I think, is a dangerous pick. If you want to sprinkle a little something on his teammates, Todd Gilliland and Zane Smith, because they'll be running 3 cars this weekend, I don't think that's the worst idea either. I am very high on Front Row Motorsports to end the season, and especially at these super speedways. And then finally, the guy that we had our biggest bet at Atlanta, the guy that we wanted to win, and he blew it. He blew it late on the last lap. Couldn't hold off the late run of Joey Logano. But Brad Keselowski, 6 wins at this track. This is his house. I think he's as hungry as ever to win a race and lock himself into the playoffs. Another bet prior to this season, over a half win for Brad Keselowski. I thought it was a guarantee. It looked to be a guarantee at Atlanta. Unfortunately, it wasn't. I'd like to think it's a guarantee here at Talladega that this man gets his 7th career victory at Talladega to really put him amongst the greats of all time. He really already is amongst the greats of all time in super speedway racing. But 7 wins at Talladega would be something. The only man that has more is the great Dale Earnhardt. So Brad Keselowski, the only thing that concerns me is that he had such a solid run at Atlanta and like blew it like late like that. I don't know. I feel like it's really hard to put together great, like start to finish great runs at a super speedway. And Brad Keselowski had a start to finish great day at Atlanta, just couldn't hold off the run late from Logano. I think if he's in that position again, I do think he wins, but I don't know if he's going to be in that position again this season at a super speedway. I hope he is, but I don't know for sure. I really don't. But I mean, look, the guy's won here 6 times, so there has to be something said about that. And the number on Brad is plus 1,400. Yeah. I would have liked to see that closer to 2,000, but I guess it is what it is. So, all right. Ryan Blaney, Bubba Wallace, Eric Almirola, Chase Elliott, Ricky Stenhouse, Corey LaJoie, Michael McDowell, Brad Keselowski, 8 drivers total. You pick your poison, whatever you want to sprinkle this around. Like I said, anything, if you want my exact bets or anything post practice, post qualifying, that's Johnny on the Track on Action Network. You can also find all my bets on Twitter at JOTT_podcast. Appreciate you guys watching. Definitely give this video a like if you're a first-time viewer. Definitely subscribe for more content. And, of course, always want to know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know because maybe that will make me want to add something that I didn't throw out, which, again, you can find Johnny on the Track on Action Network. That wraps it up. Let's have a great weekend and a bounce back at Dega. Thanks for watching and have a great week.